Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming, bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out Firefighting Simulator The Squad. This game is developed by Kronos Unterhaltung Software and published by Astragon Entertainment and released back on December 6, 2022 for a price of $29.99. Sorry the review's a little late. Myself and Dream have both been dealing with some health stuff, so it's been making it a little hard to stay on top of things. We know you guys love our views, so we wanted to try to catch up on some games that we wanted to make sure we highlighted. So let's dive into talking about Firefighting Simulator The Squad. So what is this game? It's a simulator, go figure, but it's a simulator that does something that very few simulation games have ever done for me. It's made my heart pound. And what I mean by that is it's a game that actually gives you a very rewarding and fulfilling sense that you might not expect. So let's dive in and I'll show you a little bit of the game. So you're going to get this kind of city overlay, very similar to probably any type of game you've played before. And the way the game works is you can pick through a select variety of missions. You'll get new missions all the time. You can play the game either by yourself with AI, or you can get into a group of up to 4 friends and play together. So like right off the bat, that's pretty amazing. Every mission will feature various different challenges that you can try to do and set up, but it just kind of varies from mission to mission. You could be going to, put a fire out in a hot dog stand, to saving people from a burning building, to really anything. And the part of the game that really started to connect me and turn me into, man, this is an amazingly fun game, is really the driving there part of the game. And what I mean by that is the game builds a lot of suspense and really helps dig you into that, in-depth dive into the mission. You start to get these little updates. You might hear the guy, but you can read the text below where it tells you how the evolving scene's going. Much like what real firefighters would have to deal with in the real world, you're going to get updates. You're going to have a very brief understanding, but things are going to constantly evolve. Maybe the fire is spreading. Maybe, the people involved are in a much worse situation. Maybe an explosion occurs. You don't really know. And all this suspense builds up to an ever-evolving scene that just walks you into something that you're not going to want to know what to do. And that's really what's enjoyable for the game. You're going to use a vast variety of equipment, from fire hoses, fire extinguishers, hydrants, axes, pry bars, ladders, boom trucks, really all kinds of different things to be able to assess your scene and work to save and deal with that situation. You could be going in to deal with victims who are dying, to really anything and everything. Now, when you first get to a scene, you're going to have a guy who does a sort of 360 approach to see what's going on, but you really get to assess everything and try to, figure out your best approach. The game gives you everything you need to succeed. It's your job to treat the scene the exact way you want. You could be a grunt, very minorly dealing with orders, or you could make things very specific. Fires will vary just like they're real in real world, and different things that you need to do to tackle those fires, from just a normal fire, an electrical fire, everything in between, and you get full AI systems to really set yourself up for whatever you're doing. Maybe you need to have pry bars, or maybe you need equipment to bust into a house. Maybe you don't know what's going on. You'll need to look for victims. As you can see, like, we just walked into this house and the roof's just collapsing all around us. So we've already ordered our guys off bat here to start getting the fire suppressed, and they'll have to set things up, establish hoses, find points of interest, and do everything you can to really go. And everything really just evolves in this game. Now, the stuff that I think's really intriguing is just how realistic this game gets to the way it works. As you can see, we're already finding victims that we need to rescue. We have to deal with potential backdrafts. There's all kinds of different scenario things, and how you equip and set all your units up to succeed in the mission really matters. It's more than just, go in, put a fire out. It's tactically approaching a situation, and the game does a really good job. Now, let's talk about some of the things that I don't like, because, I'm not going to just praise this game, because there's some things that I don't enjoy. For me, I think some of the, more interesting things for me is just, The game doesn't do the best job, I think, when it comes to how the AI responds and interacts with everything. There's definitely some quirks and clanking things that occur, but everything really does keep to the basic premises of how the game works. Just the thing for me is when it comes to like commanding your AI characters, things do get pretty interesting and clunky as you really try to struggle sometimes with how things work. Now, it looks like the fire we're battling right now we can't really deal with because it's an electrical fire, so this game's situation tells us that we have to go find electrical boxes, as you can see here, and that's really just how the evolving situation. You'll get a brief kind of objective thing in your top left of your screen, but you get to establish the systems that you set in place. The game doesn't really do that for you. You get to approach everything tactically, and I really like that. Now, the controls for the game, like I said, the AI is a little clunky for me, but it's not something that's a massive deal breaker in terms of the game. As you can see, here's a backdraft kicking off, which is a cool effect that you get to deal with. But it's just a lot of great content packaged into one stuff. Now, as far as the visuals, let's kind of go outside. I know I'm kind of killing my own mission and not focusing super well about talking, but let's talk about some of the visuals. The game looks great. It's not insane upper realistic level graphics, but it looks visually good. When you're fighting a fire, it feels like you're either gaining in some areas or losing in others, and you're constantly just either fighting a battle you're going to lose or getting that one great victory for that one part of the game that you just succeeded in. And even down to like the vehicles and controls, like driving the fire trucks is great. It feels really, really good when you're handling it and driving it. And this is kind of the clunky AI that I was talking about, where I just have a guy that's not doing anything. Oh, it's because he didn't connect the rest of his gear. So things kind of vary when you're playing, and you have to really set everything up the proper way, and even down to how like your hoses work. Sometimes some of the guys are pretty clunky and don't do the smartest thing. But yeah, overall, as far as controls visually, the game's, like I said, is really smooth and easy to play and handle. There's no real issues, at least for me, from my experience. I think it's been a really just, pleasant experience. But, there's some quirks, some things seem slower than others. And the way some of the controls can kind of respond, I think just the AI controls need the biggest, kind of redesign a little bit, or maybe just enhancement to it. But, everything else about the game, like the important stuff, fighting fires, how the game's kind of protagonist, which is the fire, interacts in the game, everything feels really good. It doesn't feel out of place, and it just feels right. It feels like they put a lot of work in making this game feel authentic, and it's a very, like I said, rewarding experience. As you can see, the fire we left here earlier has already started to spread to other areas, so we have to now fight our way to gain entrance back into the back of the house, and we don't know if there's victims in here or not. We have to just continue to dig and dig, and that's just part of that, win or lose battle that you're going to experience while playing in this game. And for me, it's just been really fun. Audio-wise, audible isn't really a word, I guess. I guess it is, but not the way I'm using it. Audio-wise, the game's great. Water sounds like water, fire sounds like fire. The sirens on the truck sound good. It's not really anything that's going to be too different there, but there's not a lot really to dig into the audio from my perspective. Outside of that, as far as just an overall opinion of the game, I know I've rambled a little bit. Sorry, I have spent a little bit since I've done reviews, and I'm still not feeling too great health-wise, so apologies there. As far as an opinion, though, of buy, sell, or pass, yes, this game comes at a $30 price point, but to be honest, it's a really good simulation game that's, authenticity that the game sticks to, does a very, very good job, and I'm very happy with the game. I definitely think at a $30 price point, this game is worth the money. So if you like simulation games, I think you would enjoy picking this title up. If you played games like the Police Patrol game that we reviewed recently, if you enjoyed that one, this is definitely going to be a game that you would enjoy and, have a lot of fun with. And then especially if you have friends that you can play this game with, yeah, you'd each need to spend $30, but generally if you're playing with a bunch of guys doing co-op, it's usually not too hard of an ask to do to get all your buddies to buy the same game. For me, I have a couple friends that I can play this game with. And then at the end of all the missions, you get this nice little rewarding effect of the game just walking you through, how you did. Did you beat the certain time scores and goals? Did you, you know, do things faster than anticipated? And it's a very rewarding experience and definitely something that I think is a well worthwhile game. So as far as an opinion of buy sell pass, I'm definitely say this game is worth buying. It's not something that is for everyone, but it is a game that's for simulation gamers. I think anybody who enjoys solid simulation games aren't really going to be too disappointed. And the few quirks I have with the game when it comes to like how the AI is, that's stuff that they can tinker with and fix. And it is nice to see that the developers are actively playing this game online. Even today, when I was searching, over 10 days later after the game's released, or almost 10 days after the game's released, or I got access to it, the devs are still on playing, trying to show support for the game and give people to play with. So that's definitely an awesome, and kudos to them. They've done a great job, and I think this game should be worth checking out. If you are curious about the time for missions can vary from a couple minutes to 15, 20, 30 minutes. It really depends on how you're playing, how you're performing, and the way you use your team and work together. Outside of that, that's my thoughts on Firefighting Simulator The Squad. If you have any questions, want to know more, or if you picked up the game and want to play, let me know down below in the comments. Outside of that, I hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll catch you next time.